ball has dropped.
Happy New Year.
Happy New
It's
Year.
closer to 2050.
That's right. And the robot's taking over. We watched a Terminator movie last night and I got a little scared. I was like, oh, this is kind of hitting close to home.
Mm-hmm. We'll review that.
Indeed. And so we're back with Lacey Miller. I am a huge fan of you and have been really excited to talk to you. Lacey is a highly experienced and impactful marketing executive. She's currently spearheading the growth marketing at Perigon, an AI context engine, and is recognized for her innovative approaches to AI visibility optimization, another AIVO, another acronym for us, answer engine optimization, AEO, and pioneering TikTok for B2B playbooks. She focuses on how to leverage AI in SaaS B2B content marketing and is a proven first hire marketing leader, which not everybody can say. That's a tough job. Lacey specializes in building robust go-to-market strategies from the ground up, particularly for B2B developer and enterprise AI SaaS products. Her expertise lies in translating complex technical capabilities into compelling narratives that resonate with diverse audiences and drive revenue growth. At Perigon, she's actively driving category creation, positioning the company as a leader in real-time AI context. Prior to Perigon, Lacey served as the head of marketing at Bezi. Is it Bezi?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's right.
All right. At Bezi, where she built the initial go-to-market framework and integrated AI into product strategy. Her experience also includes building high-performing marketing functions at LoudCrowd, where she significantly contributed to ARR and fundraising and leading full-funnel go-to-market strategies at Verify Data. Lacey, welcome to Futurecraft. Thanks for chatting with us.
Like all of the above, and I do all of those things within a week.
Snap, snap, snap.
Yep. Got to touch on all of them. Yep.
I love it. So, you call yourself a go-to-market engineer. What does that mean, and how does it differ from a traditional head of marketing?
Oh my goodness, this is so funny because, before we kicked off our podcast, we talked about how we have to promote ourselves or promote our work or promote the thing. And go-to-market engineering is kind of one of those, right? Like as marketers, I think we're always rebranding, but I mean, it is very different in the sense that you're building repeatable go-to-market systems, right? This is no longer like chasing leads. It's about building growth loops that learn and feed downstream content, visibility, awareness. And so there's a lot more product thinking that goes into it, right? We're not just marketing hat. We are thinking like a product developer as well, because that's what we're building to go to market.
Yeah, when you're vibe marketing your way to a new frontier. The other thing that's really interesting with your background is that and I mentioned this in the lead up, is that you've been the first marketing hire at a lot of SaaS startups. So drawing from your experiences, how does the first 100 days playbook look like for a marketing leader, especially in the face of AI now?
So it's interesting because I feel like that changes like every 6 months. So, and every role I take on is about a new challenge. It's never about taking the same playbook to the next role. Like sometimes when I, Trendkite, Verified Data, Bezi, LoudCrowd, like all of these were very different markets and very different personas. And I remember in like interview processes and talking to different board members or CEOs about bringing me on, I would always say like, you don't need a expert in your like industry, you need an expert marketer because we can market anything. And my first role that I took on, we pivoted 4 times from energy efficiency software to a alternative lending platform. So I always tell people, like one day you go on vacation, the next day you come back and we're a bank. So it kind of taught me like, look, there are certain plays that you can run, but there's really never a playbook. And especially like Bezi and LoudCrowd, I was really building a brand and building kind of pipeline and then content motions. Like how are we going to get out there in social? How are we going to get out there on a blog or in community? But with Perigon, I mean, this is where AI comes into play so much because it's repeatable inputs. What can I do at scale? By myself. I need automations. I have to test different LLMs. I've got to connect all the different pieces of marketing into one process to become like that self-sustaining go-to-market engine. And we're in this whole new world of like AIVO, once again, GEO, AEO, like we're calling it so many things. But like what's what's beautiful about it is that we are talking about getting back to a conversational side, right? Like when you search within an LLM, you use natural language, which is ironic that it took us using robots to sound more human, right? Like nobody walks up to you and goes, "Good coffee, Austin, Texas." That's a robot. Like that's Google search, right? Today, if you go to ChatGPT, you're like, I'm looking for a great local coffee shop in Austin, Texas, quiet vibes where I can work. Like you're telling it a lot more context and you're getting much better results. So it's interesting that the robots are making us more human, but then that goes back to like the complete change in the playbook of how you approach marketing as well.
Yeah, it really speaks to the bigger conversation we're seeing in marketing right now, where we've spent so many years focused on metrics, right? We've gone so far on the data side, and now brand matters again. And people are
Oh
like,
my
well,
gosh,
now it's the
yes.
age of brand, and like, well, maybe it's the age of everything. But that's neither here nor there. I was really curious about your career being focused on building things from the ground up. And you mentioned, how we talk to LLMs now. How does that 0 to 1 experience directly lead to developing those concepts like AIVO?
Oh man. Well, we are approaching everything very differently. And it is also because like it's almost easier to build a brand, but I don't know, in some ways harder. Like I know at Perigon, we're an AI platform, right? But our branding is full human. We want humans in there. We want you to see people. We want you to understand that we are your superpower, not your replacement. And so we think it's very important that our brand across everything reflects that. You should see, this also goes back to like AI is not going to replace you. The prompting that our designer did to get to a place where we have a consistent way to build imagery using AI is almost beyond comprehension. Like, but his brain thinks in a designer way. He's building a brand. We have a visual identity, and like he gets to use AI tools to help crank that out and then to help it be consistent across. And if you've ever tried to build an image on some of these platforms, okay, everybody was sharing that like not superhero, like action figure looking thing that you were doing on ChatGPT. It's like, make me into this, and I like coffee, and I'm go to market. And everybody had this like action figure. Well, ChatGPT in the background already had something set up. Like this was not a come here and create an entirely new experience. And, every time everyone across LinkedIn does the same thing, it's going to all be the same. Like if you try to do that, I mean, just prompt it, like ask it to, my hair's brown, it's not blonde in this, like whatever. It'll completely redraw the image. Like I didn't ask you to completely redo it. And so that's also one of those like understandings that you need to know. There's so much going on in the background of the LLM. It knows how to tell everyone to make an action figure, but it doesn't know how to build your brand visual identity. So don't forget like that the prompting that goes behind that, and that's just one piece, right? Like we also have brand voice stuff and the prompting that goes behind that. Like it's so important to ask any LLM you're using, any GPT you're using, hey, like reference my original instructions. Like if you want any of this consistency, you want a playbook that kind of like melds with, and changes with the day, you have to know how to talk to the robots and bring the consistency to the conversation.
So I want to switch gears a little bit and talk more about how to break it down for teams who might be getting started with AI. Can you describe the initial steps an established B2B team should take to truly integrate AI and how to leverage it in an AI SaaS B2B content marketing strategy?
We could be here all day for that. So let's see, a few things. Like I work for an AI platform, but that didn't mean that we were AI first. We actually, last week, we did a complete like shutdown of product and development. And we as a company decided that we were going to do an AI hackathon. And so even we had to kind of sit down and go, okay, like what does it mean to be AI first in marketing? What does it mean to be AI first in customer success? I was talking to a really incredible CMO that I really admired the other day, and he was talking about this concept of AI first and how the CTO of his company was leading it. And I said that, like, that's too obvious. Like, you're the CMO. It's not obvious for your team to learn how to code things in the back end. Like, you need to be the one that leads the way. Like, the teams that aren't obvious coders should be the one leading the way on this, because it's a complete, like, restructuring of how your brain works. Like, I've been using HubSpot my entire career. It is so easy for me to go in there and set up a workflow. But in an AI first world, it's not a growth engine. It's not a growth lever to do that, right? So I had to kind of completely pull back the curtain on what I was building here at Perigon and go, how at every step of this can I inject or use AI in a different way? And it's a challenge, and it's going to be a challenge for teams going forward. But I think you got to find where you're comfortable, right? There's a level of coding that I'm comfortable with, and there's a level where, like, with Cursor that I just do not get it. I know my limitations, and then it's kind of also evangelizing that throughout the company. I think a lot of people are still scared of AI and AI first. I got to do a panel at the end of last year on the future of, like, PR and comms and AI. And the woman putting together the panel is this, like, works for this incredible international company and has all of these, like, clients that are all over the world. And she couldn't get any of them to commit because they were still not at a place where legal would let them talk about using AI, or their CMO would let them talk about using AI. And so, what's interesting to me is that some of us feel like everybody's using it and it's just everywhere. But I think if we really also peeled back the layers on that, like, it's probably like 80% of professionals still don't exactly know, like, where to start. And it's not ChatGPT, like, that's really not AI first.
It's so funny you mentioned that, because I think those of us that live and breathe AI every day are constantly kind of making that assumption, like, oh my God, I'm so far behind, or I have to try this new thing or understand. And the vast majority of folks are still wondering what's possible.
Right.
It's like sort of that disconnect is kind of interesting. One of the things I was thinking about is, with tools and you say, okay, maybe ChatGPT isn't the first one to be AI first, but, like, if you could think of in your daily tech stack, what gives you an unfair advantage? What is that tool and how do you use it?
So right now that's Lindy. And
Oh,
I will probably be showing y'all this, but this is, like, the craziest thing. Of course, then it's like, and Replit, and this, and that.
yeah.
So let's start with Lindy. Lindy is Agentic. Lindy is something where you set up a workflow. Now, it can be as simple as integrating your calendar with Lindy, and then Lindy, 1 hour before your meeting, goes, hey, you're meeting with Aaron and Ken, you're doing a podcast, here are the notes on that, here's what you should be prepping, right? So kind of a meeting researcher. But what I've created is an outbound growth loop. And essentially what I'm able to do is take something as simple as a starting point as your email address. I use a Replit that I built to analyze it, to figure out what persona you are based on our personas that I have input. And if you're not, it'll spit you out somewhere else. But if you are one of my personas, it's going to give me that analysis. It's going to give me a unique coded link just for you. That into my Lindy and then just let it work. And so from there,
slick.
Put you in your persona-based campaign. You can engage with the emails as you, like, no matter where you are within the workflow. I've given it our documentation, our website, our brand tone, and a personality, so it understands how to respond to you if it needs to respond to you. And then there's a lot of, like, bailout points. Like, maybe the first email bounced, it bails you out. You've said unsubscribe, bails you out, like, or you've asked a question and then it also bails you out of the campaign, right? Like the drip campaign, and now puts you into, like, a one-to-one with me. And so for me, that's a superpower. Like, I'm go-to-market, marketing, sales. I don't know. I'm all the things right now, right? And so how do I create a brand voice while also getting that brand out to people? Like, this is one of the ways I'm doing it. And it's just, it's incredible how many people it's going to be able to touch, like, within just a couple of months.
Yeah, talk about building some scale.
Yeah, It's amazing. It's a flywheel.
One thing that we talk about regularly is the question that so many marketing leaders have, which is how is AI changing B2B marketing? And I think diving into search and AI is probably a good topic. So let's just start with defining some terms. How do you delineate between AI VO, which is AI visibility optimization, and answer engine optimization for the B2B SaaS audience?
I mean, gosh, y'all, the acronyms are just off the wall. Like, I think we're still really, really figuring all that out, right? There's a group of people who is like, I think Perplexity calls himself an answers engine. You know, you're not going to ChatGPT for search results, you're going for answers. Like, we still can't trust what is coming to us from an LLM, like, as an answer, right? But on the flip side, LLMs learn in natural language, that conversational side of things. And so when we talk about the content that we're putting out and how like AIVO is just completely different from SEO, like we are focused on more conversations and where we can be conversational. That's why podcasts are huge. The transcript for this is like more important to me than a blog post, right? And so, I mean, AIVO is just, it's about, I don't know, LLMs. AEO is kind of how we've built our blog. You know, blogs used to be about keyword stuffing, which was terrible. Anybody who's done any content in their lives will tell you, like, I hated writing blogs because it was fit these 5 words in and make it sound whatever. Now with AEO, we really get to focus on how LLMs learn, and they need to learn new things. So it's like the golden era of content. We get to be conversational. We get to be a little more casual. We get to just talk. We get to discuss. We get to have Q&A. Which is just far superior to like a keyword stuffed blog post. And so on that note, our blogs are actually flipped to where the blog content is the last thing on the page. What we lead with is a podcast, a transcript, critical questions, and then we get to the blog because we know those conversational pieces are far more important than the H1, H2, which once again is amazing and way more fun.
Yeah. I really like that model and approach. It's something I'm definitely going to try out myself. Continuing on that thread, what are the core or a few core marketing assumptions? Let me re-ask that. What core marketing assumptions are AI-driven search engines challenging today?
Oh my goodness. Well, I guess the first one is that you can, like, that you're smarter than it. Like, it's very interesting right now. What is it? Like, don't fall into the attribution trap. Like, LLMs don't pass referral headers. Like, we're not tricking the LLMs, y'all. We're not teaching the LLMs. Like, and if you think about it, ChatGPT is still built on Bing. So if you really want to work ChatGPT, you need to start advertising in Bing and getting better ranked over in Bing. I don't know. ChatGPT, Perplexity, you know, these guys are not going to tell us how and why they're surfacing what they're surfacing. Maybe that swings marketing back to the creative side, like the black box marketing of sometimes we really don't know what's working because we've fallen into such an attribution trap and performance marketing that we've been so obsessed with that A to B. And now, granted, I am too. Like I track all the way to revenue. Like I'll track all the way to like, you know, recurring revenue, right? Like I want to know what marketing is done all the way down the funnel, but that's also a trap. And in the day of AI, like I don't know that attribution is getting better. I think it's going to get worse. And AI in itself is a huge experiment. There's a ton of platforms popping up that are telling us like, here's how you're going to do all these amazing things. Those are also all an experiment. I mean, even connecting Lindy to my calendar to give me like research meeting notes, like, is it going to be right every time? Or am I going to walk in and be like, Aaron's an astronaut? Like, where did you get that? It's because you said fly to space in your LinkedIn profile because you thought that was funny, right? Like, I think we're back to experimentation. And man, like if I could tell everybody anything, it's like, that's okay. We are going to fail at some of these things because it's new for everybody, but it's also really incredible. And it's really fun to see how much more you can do. The podcasts I create are through Notebook LM. I put in my summary of what I want. I give it details. I give it tone. You know, I've got kind of my prompts for it. But then it creates a podcast. I have wanted or been asked to create a podcast everywhere I've worked for the past 10 years. especially when podcasts were up and coming, it was like, oh, we have to have this, right? And you're like, I can't, you would not believe what it takes to build a podcast.
We would.
Yeah, you would believe. Ken and Aaron know what I'm talking about. But on my side, I get to like kind of dabble in that where I never would have been able to dabble. And is it bringing me direct traffic? I don't know, not yet, probably not at all. But it's still fun, and it's still a way that people learn. So I have the ability to do it now for the first time ever, and I can kind of get something going on that side. But it could teach me and spearhead me to actually create a real podcast, right? Like there are also things where this AI first world is just the stepping stone to almost teach you what you would need to build like the end product or, end value and I don't know, token. So
yeah, I think experimentation is sort of core and to what we're leaning into. I'm curious to get your thoughts on, there's so many marketers that are moving from SEO or maybe like enhancing their SEO to get into AEO. What would be a roadmap for a growth leader that's looking to enhance their, placement in these LLMs? What would you say in the black box of marketing?
I know. I mean, the first thing I would say is like, don't set yourself up for failure on this. Like, this one's hard. This one's hard to track. This one's hard to do. But then it goes back to you have to put out something of value. Like, we're not keyword stuffing. We are not. Remember when we would like put like links, like hyperlinks to our company name and like different comment sections or whatever? Like, that's just, we can't trick our way into this. And back on the idea that LLMs are built on that conversational aspect and they want like the Q&A side, you also can't blog your way into it. And so you really have to go, once I think that podcasts are going to be the most powerful thing over the next 5 years in marketing. Like you got to focus on that. You got to get in there. You have to make sure that you are recording with somebody who's putting the podcast on a platform that's letting LLMs learn. But that's where you're going to get this natural language. That's where you're going to get this really effective Q&A in the transcript. And that's going to be really powerful. And so even back to the playbook question, like the playbook's out. If you had something that works really well, like you should completely break it down into parts and then see how to AI optimize each of those parts to go back to a new plan. Because I don't like good writing in media, journalists, all of these things are going to be so much more impactful and they're harder.
Yeah, does seem to be a lot harder. There is this friction, right, about we're doing this transformation. We don't actually know how to do this stuff yet, but people get caught up in the whole KPI thing. Do you have any KPIs that people could look at measuring their AI VO success and maybe how that's different than traditional SEO?
I do have a Google Analytics report broken down, set up step by step that I can give y'all to share with the audience.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And then I can show you, I can show you now, or I can kind of show you at the end, but for better or worse, it does show when people come in from Perplexity or Anthropic or ChatGPT. Like there is a way to start to keep your finger on the pulse of it and understand. Now, still very black box. I don't know what brought them here. I don't know. And you can't recreate it. I think one of the wildest things is talking to people and they're like, oh yeah, we're in all the LLMs. And it's like, what? Like, I could ask an LLM the same question 5 times in a row and it would give me a different response every time. There is no we're in the LLMs. And so it's going to be, the KPIs are going to be tough. I think it's the finger on the pulse. Like traffic to your site, you're going to see bumps. Maybe you can't directly attribute that to ChatGPT, but like keep growing and building on the things that are working. And then also start to realize where, just like Quora had good SEO. And if you could get questions answered about your product in Quora, that was a whole thing, right? Like if we think about Product Hunt having great SEO. Like if you're going after AI enthusiasts, it probably makes a lot of sense to launch on Product Hunt. If we think about what Gemini and Google are about to do, like YouTube, man, like if it's on YouTube and you can get more built up on YouTube, you're probably going to win this race. It's almost looking at some of the same KPIs that we've had, but making sure we're setting ourselves up for success and knowing that there is no true one-to-one.
One of the things I was going to ask you, I'm curious about the trends you're seeing on your dashboard. So I similarly have one tracking, just referral from the LLMs. And one thing I'm noticing is that we see about 700% more time on site. So it's like my hypothesis is that people think that ChatGPT or Perplexity are more of an authority on what the answer is coming out. And so then they come to the site and they're actually spending more time because they believe it to be more of so I'm kind of thinking about it like that's what I'm jumping to. I don't know if that's true, but curious if you're seeing anything like that.
Man, now I'm like looking in. I mean, yes, like I will say, when I report on different marketing like strategies and tactics that we're doing, and when I ask people like, hey, can you help me push this, engage on this, build this, I use that metric a lot. Like, hey, look, the people who come in from LinkedIn spend 5x the time on our site than people who come in from a Google ad. So if you could please help me with LinkedIn, and it gives people like an anchor of why you've asked them to do something. The people who are coming in off of some of these LLMs are definitely staying longer. It has to be, it's a smarter response. It's an answer. Like I've given you something conversational on my site to deep dive into a little bit more. And I mean, if we just talk about how broken Google search was, like, right? I mean, there's a restaurant that is catty corner to my office. And we were planning a lunch one day. My colleague is vegan. So I'm like, let me look up the menu. I put in the restaurant's full name. It's 5 words or 4 words, like Austin, Texas, in Google. And what came up? Ad for DoorDash, Grubhub, like food delivery, right? And it's like, can I just get the menu? Like, I just want to see if they have vegan options. And so had I landed somewhere that said, yes, there are vegan options at Lazarus, and here's what it did, I would have spent more time being like, okay, like this is great. But instead I got a bunch of menus through delivery services, which I would have bounced. That's not exactly what I wanted. You just tried to predict what I wanted. And that's why A, Google search is dead. And then B, if we can start to train these LLMs, I don't know if that's real either, train them like that what we have is valuable to come to our site with different questions, you will have people spending more time there. But that's so like, you also probably spent more time on the content and you built it out to be AEO specific, right? Like there's a lot of layers there, but that is why people want more of that traffic because it's engaged.
Yeah, and it's how people are going to buy. I
my
just
gosh.
think buying behavior is changing.
Like, when I first started at Perigon, and, you said it at first, we call it a context engine because the idea here is not that you get search results or that you get answers. It's that you get full context around what you've asked. But, I don't know if we have to bleep this, but shit in, shit out. Like, I remember being on the phone with a journalist that I highly admire, giving him a demo, and he types in Russia. And then it's just like, nothing, right? Like it's an insane amount of information. There's no context and none of it makes sense. And I was like, okay, can you ask it something more specific? Like, can you name what you're actually looking for? Battle, war, like Zelensky versus Putin, like give it more of like what you actually want to see. And then it's going to give you something like a lot more valuable. And so this idea that we had to change user behavior was very scary. Nobody wants to build a product where you have to change behavior, but it has so quickly, user behavior has completely changed. The average Google search is 3 words. The average search in Perigon, Perplexity is 14 to 16 words. Humans immediately saw the benefit they were getting and started to learn that asking in a different way was going to net what they wanted. And so that's also been really interesting. We're changing like user behavior. We're changing human behavior. Like who thought that was going to happen? Google Google had a chokehold on the market. And what's interesting, one reason I went to LoudCrowd when I did is because they wanted to disrupt advertising. Alphabet and Google spun out because Google was like, somebody's going to disrupt advertising. I don't know if they knew it was going to be search, but it's here. It's been disrupted, and it's an incredible study in human behavior.
Yeah, that cash cow is going to be thirsty or hungry.
I mean, you think about, I think that Perplexity has talked about adding in like ads or shopping. Like I know that people are thinking about this because of the human behavior of how we put in more context so we feel more comfortable and with the result, right? Like I've put work into my query, so like what I get back is usually I have more confidence in. Man, that buying strategy, like if you can figure out how to get your sneaker to be the first one that comes up, you're probably going to be in a good place.
Reddit threads on Reddit. So weird.
I mean, I hate to say, like, and I'm still trying to figure it out, but Reddit's going to be huge. Conversations in Reddit are going to continue to be a huge strategy that we all have to get behind, but that you also can't, like, what is the word? Like, I can't manipulate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's the point with a lot of where this marketing stuff is going. It's a lot of ways that people can't be manipulated. They're tired of it. They're tired of Google ads, right? Like they have found
Don't give me the DoorDash.
Yes, I don't want the DoorDash. I want the actual menu. And that, I know we mentioned TikTok, and I know you may have a deeper question, but that's why TikTok took off. Like we weren't being manipulated. Like we were finding people explaining things in a way that met us where we wanted to be, and we loved it. Like that goes back to user behavior. Instagram became so overrun with ads, and it's just a photo, and it's usually a photo that was very curated and very filtered, very fit one thing. And then TikTok comes along and it's like raw authenticity, just start videoing yourself and like doing whatever. Now all that's changing and whatever, but it still felt like a more authentic way to get information. And that's why it took off.
Yeah. Well, switching gears a little bit, we're going to go into our gladiator round if you're ready. For those of you just tuning in, Gladiator is where Lacey is going to show us how she does something live and give a real how-to example. So are you ready for the challenge?
Am I? Let's see. So it's funny because sometimes I think like I've nailed down this AI first and I've gotten it to be like this rapid course of things, and it's not. Like you got to kind of go all over the place, but actually, sorry about that, everybody. So we're going to go.
We have editing software.
Okay, yeah. There we go. I want to share this. Okay. So this is just something I built in Replit, which is more of a low code, more of an assistant type to build an app that you need. And what I need is a greater way to really analyze, like I spoke about earlier. I need to be able to, the lowest barrier to entry on these things, like an email address. So if I can start with an email address, and there's obviously a lot in here. So this is one thing I've done is like, so I've got my classification result, like the personas in AI tech, here's my type, here's my landing, my URL that's customized to now that email address, which is mine. You can see my persona profiles here at the bottom. I can upload a whole bulk one, but it's a really great way for me to start and understand, a breakdown of the personas, and kind of start to get ready to market to them a little bit more. Now, next I'm going to show you my Lindy, which this is only 2 arms of my campaign. This is going to be like, this one's just nuts. Like, this is where I'm going to drop you in one of 2 ways. It's got conditions. It's going to do the persona differentiation here. And then it's going to start down this outreach. And then we're going to, wait 3 days. If there's a reply received, we're going to cancel so you're not still in there. But this thing is about to be a huge spider web because I'm going to add 2 more personas to this guy. But this is about growth, that growth flywheel. This goes back to the whole idea of go-to-market engineering. I have to think like somebody building a product, which I'm building apps to help assist me in what I'm doing. And then even what's funny about Lindy is even with this, I'm still talking to it with natural language. There's still a lot of pieces in here where like you will say, like I renamed it wait 3 days, like wait 4 minutes required. Like it's still a talking, like it still wants to use natural language. So all of these new AI tools are also teaching us that we are not just inputs. We're not a workflow in HubSpot that's, send email now, stop campaign. Like there's a lot of natural language in this Lindy that tells you if the user responds, here's how to respond to it. Here's tone to use. And so I get to inject a lot more customization, but it's also a completely different way that I'm approaching things because, once again, the robots have taught us how to be more human.
So true.
Love it. I'm curious why Lindy versus N8N versus like Zapier's doing some of it or Make, like what made you select Lindy over some of the other tools out there?
It's interesting. Zapier, I haven't even touched with any of this. Like it almost is like it used to be my integration tool of choice, my connector, but now I haven't thought about it as much. Lindy is more natural language. So I know in Cursor, like those get more into the weeds on code, and I'm just not as comfortable coding. Now, Replit also has that. Here's my greatest advice with Replit. Every marketer on the planet needs to get into Replit, learn Replit. Like, I've got 4 up here that are, one of them compares different search results from across LLMs. One of them builds specific queries back to my personas. I drop in an email address, it builds you a query for our Signals tool, which is like an AI powered Google alert. I've got all these different things, and it gives me that like kind of like code plus more natural language stuff. But oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. Are we going to cut that part out? Let's see.
Oh, we totally can. I was just kind of curious, like, it's so funny because I get so wrapped up in all of these different, I love N8N. I've been pushing Ken to get in N8N. And so I'm always curious when people are like, oh, I like Lindy or I like this other tool or like I use Lovable, but Replit's really good. Cursor, Cursor is hard to use.
It's hard. And I probably need to, Lovable comes up a lot, N8N too. I think once I fell in love with the tool, I just wanted to get really, really good at that tool. One thing that I have found, there's a lot of legacy tools who are trying to integrate AI and they're like, we're so great at this. And it's just absolutely not. Like one in particular made me got so irritated the other day. I was like, I've completely jumped out. Like, I am building full-on landing pages in Replit. Like, I get it on a subdomain. I can run ads to it. Like, instead of the website tool that I have, right? Like, what is wrong with this picture? But I think once you learn something, and like I said, the natural language, there's a lot more natural language with Replit, Lindy, some of these others. And I really like that because that's what's been most consistent across really strong AI tools is kind of the really good ones need that natural language. Oh, wait, can you hear Ken?
No, Ken, can't hear you now. What happened?
Oh, sorry.
There we go.
He was just being a mime.
Yeah.
Start like.
There's a lot of background noise here today, so I was muting myself.
Okay.
Was that your drum or like somebody in your apartment doing the drums?
No. I was thinking it might have been my AC unit though, but here now.
I did a podcast once and the guy, he lived in New York and there was a car horn going off the whole time. Whole thing.
No.
He was like, I thought this mic would like get that out of here, but nope, whole time.
Sucks.
Nope.
That really sucks. Okay. Hey, so you mentioned TikTok, so I'm going to go ahead and ask. Many B2B leaders are skeptical of TikTok, but there's a lot of B2B marketers feel like they need to know about how AI is going to transform, especially social. So what's a strategic role for B2B companies who are eyeing things like TikTok, and what's an argument that you would give them that they should be doing this right now?
What's interesting is it almost feels like TikTok and this AI movement was both a proof point that a younger generation was really tired of how we were getting information, right? They didn't want to be sold to. They all flew, like, they all went to places where they felt like they weren't being sold to. And so the thing about TikTok is it's like frontline discovery, right? And it is of all the social media. Sometimes I put YouTube in social media, sometimes not, but it's almost that same idea. Like, that's where I can go and discover new things. And it's funny because I'm always using a Claude to do analysis or ChatGPT to ask questions. Like, before I came on this podcast, I was like, how are people like attribution for TikTok? Like, let's dig into the weeds on attribution because I want to be able to talk to how you're going to really be able to track this or prove out the ROI. And it was like, it's a blend of dark social and engagement loops, which essentially means like, unless they engage with you in some other way, you're not really going to know that TikTok is like that revenue driver or really pinpoint that ROI. But you almost have to be on there. It gives your brand a personality. People want to buy from a human. They no longer want to buy from a brand. Like, when I first started my marketing career, people would say like, nobody ever got fired for buying IBM, right? IBM was this trusted behemoth of a business and they had every resource on the planet. And it's like, well, now you would get fired for buying IBM because you probably spent 7 figures and it's going to take 7 years to implement and then 10 more years to get any ROI, right? Like, now it's more, especially in startup world, like what companies are like me? What companies are also innovative? They're also where my community is. They're also where my persona is, because I want to be fully immersed in like finding companies like that who are also finding personas like mine. And so I think that one of the biggest hurdles right now with startups is that when you find this, like the TikToker, you are finding somebody who's up for experimentation. You are finding somebody who will buy your product and check it out for a year. And if you do not sell them, like if you do not bring the ROI in that year, like, okay, that was just an experiment. We spent 20 grand, we tried it, and now we're done. And so I think that's also why TikTok is scary for people, because that's not where you're finding this like, 10-year contract kind of thing. Like, this really is where you're going to have to engage in a completely different way, because you know that persona is always looking for what's better.
Yeah, so talking about that engagement, really, what do you think is, from a content strategy perspective, landing? Are there like creative formats people are using? For B2B, again, it's this like kind of unknown frontier. So curious to get your take on that.
Well, let's see. Duolingo like wins the day, right? If you're thinking about it, like, yes, it's B2B and yes, you are very precise in what brand you're putting out there, but this is about being human. And the formats that honestly work are being a little more open to like the trending sounds, right? Like getting in on the trends, getting half your team dancing in the office. Like, there's not a good formula for like, we're going to be this and we're going to sound just like this. You really do have to meet people where they are, and you can't be scared to like, once again, do like rounds and rounds of like doing the dance and deleting and going back and like redoing. You really have to get out there. And I think that's what makes it hard for a lot of people. Like, it's easy to sit behind your laptop and set up Google Ads. It's hard to be the face on the camera who's like doing a dance in your office. Like, what?
Do you know how terrible that sounds to me?
I could send you like the most ridiculous things and moments. I think COVID hits and we're stuck at home and I'm the only person having to do the TikToks. And you're like, but it's consistency. You got to keep doing it. And then it really is finding what's trending. And like, there's something very authentic about that. And that's why people buy into your brand. Like, you got to be there. You got to meet people where they are.
Ken, we got to be doing, we're probably late for the Apple dance.
I would say my 9-year-old daughter does that one. So you might be a little late for the Apple dance.
That's the only one I know.
Okay, I've got like a Mel Robbins sound, like a soundbite that she just like put out maybe today that I'm going to remix. Like, that's not trending, that's not trendy, but I've got a clever way to use it. And that's a combination of somebody who has a major audience, something that could trend, like, and she's talking about like mixed signals, and we have a product called Signals. So I was like, okay, I can do something with that. So it's also, I mean, y'all, you got to put time on your calendar. You have to have like TikTok hour. And that is exactly the only time I've had it succeed. We used to do TikTok happy hour, and everyone would have to come together and help with ideas, be a part of the content, like help me, share it, whatever it may be. Like, you got to put the time aside, because the more natural and easy that TikTok video looks, the harder it was to produce.
Yeah.
So it's a commitment. Like, you got to commit and you got to be authentic.
Wise insights. You're hearing it here, B2B marketers.
That's right. Is it like how to leverage AI and SaaS in B2B content marketing?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oh no.
Okay. Well, clearly we need to wrap up. Lacey, here
Or
at
not. Just turn this into TikTok happy hour.
Yeah,
what would
this
y'all
is-
like to do?
Hey, I
Our
like
happy
it.
hour.
I like it. Let's do it.
Here at Futurecraft, we're all about giving our listeners quick hits of knowledge so that they can keep going on with their day. So you ready for a lightning round?
Oh my goodness. Yes, maybe. Let's
Just
do it.
first thing that comes to mind, period.
Okay.
For teams starting with AEO tomorrow, what is the single most impactful action they can take in the first 30 days?
Man. I mean, AI first. Like, you gotta build a GPT so that you have a tone. You've got like a little robot that already knows like what it's supposed to be like, what inputs you're going to give it, and what it's going to spit out. And then you got to get, I would say, Notebook LM. You got to create the podcast. You got to get the transcript. And then you have to use your LLM of choice to create critical questions. And sometimes I tell people the critical questions are like when you're at a cocktail party and somebody brings up a conversation and you have a question that like stops down everyone. Those are the critical questions. Those are the things that you need and want. So, and then you just got to churn it out, and you've got to commit to it. Consistency, once again, is key. And then making sure that those transcripts and those conversations are growing outside of your own owned content.
Cool. What is a non-cringy, high ROI B2B content format that people should try?
Oh goodness, that's the like Notebook LM. That's the podcast. I mean, there are 2 characters, podcast hosts on there. Like, it's so natural. It's kind of crazy. And it's fun. And it's something like I'll send my CEO and be like, look, you don't have to read the blog post, but you can listen to it on your way home. And so it feels odd. Like, it feels, I don't know, like they're not human, and you're taking away from like the reality of podcasts, which is so amazing. But you have to do it because of the content that comes off of it. Honestly, I don't care if anybody listens to the actual podcast. I need the critical questions and I need the transcript off of it.
What's one core belief you hold about marketing that most of your peers would probably disagree with?
Man, that is really tough. I mean, probably this idea that we are building products. Like, we're no longer just building a marketing strategy. It's not a Gantt chart. Like, you have to be building an actual product within your org that creates a flywheel, that creates growth, that creates greater output than the input.
How do you keep up with AI?
Oh my goodness. Man, I listen to a lot of podcasts. We keep going back to this. And I also, Perigon has a signals tool, and Perigon is built across several LLMs. And so I can build these alerts essentially to give me exactly like what I need I've got different markets, industries, and personas wrapped in with AI technology, AI announcements, product announcements. Like, I've got these very great queries built out so that I essentially have built my own like digest. And so I open those up every morning and I get like real talk context about what's going on and what's hit. And then I can also do it in real time so that sometimes those real-time alerts are during a TikTok happy hour so that I can start TikTok by being like, here's exactly what's hitting right now.
Very cool. Well, Lacey, thank you so much for joining us. Great insights. And I feel like I got quite a few tips that I need to go try, including maybe TikTok.
I can't wait to see your dances.
Yeah, I got my dance.
I know. I mean, I think like to wrap everything up, right? Nothing about this is easier. Nothing about AI first is easier. Some people are saying it's lowered the bar and raised the bar, right? Like lower barrier to entry, but that means that your output has got to be way stronger. And so there's something much harder about that, but then also like really exciting.
Totally agree.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Ken
Thanks,
and
Lacey.
Erin.
Really enjoyed the conversation.
We'll be right back.
And